I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
How long has NASCAR been racing at Martinsville Speedway? Well, since the very beginning. On July 4th, 1947, more than 4,000 fans jammed into the one-year-old dirt half-mile racetrack to watch Fonnie Flock beat his brother Tim, Buck Baker, and sanctioning body founder Bill France himself in NASCAR's sixth ever race. The racetrack that Clay Earls carved out of the Virginia countryside was shaped like a paperclip and just 137 feet more than a half mile in length at .526 to be exact. Other than asphalt paving job in 1955 and the addition of more durable concrete lanes in the 12-degree bank corners 21 years later, Martinsville Speedway, the only remaining NASCAR venue from the 1947 season, is the same configuration it was when the gates first opened. Then there's the addition of the grandstands to increase the seating capacity from the original 750 to the 85,000 it boasts today. Now a NASCAR property, Martinsville Speedway hosts the NASCAR Cup Series, Truck Series, Late Model Stock, and the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. With short, tight, modestly banked quarters, the competition is tight and it can get quite physical. After 500 laps around Martinsville, few, if any, of the cars are unmarked. Race winners know they've earned their trophies. Tonight, it's the No Bull Racing Series Virginia 150, and it's next on HBR TV. Good afternoon and welcome to Martinsville, Virginia. I'm Steve Singer with HBR TV, joined in the broadcast booth by Eric Dotson down here in Virginia. Pretty close to home for you, Eric. How you doing?
Doing great, Steve. How about you?
Doing well myself. Always been a big fan of Martinsville Speedway. Short track racing, always a good thing, no matter what type of series we're running in. But how far is this place from where you make your home there, Eric?
It's actually a little ways away. Bristol is actually probably the closest track to me on the NASCAR circuit.
Bristol closer. That's pretty close to Virginia, too. But either way, haven't made it out to Martinsville, Virginia. Might have to put that on the bucket list here pretty soon. But practice just wrapping up from the Speedway. Zach Millett is fastest, the 19:39 his lap time. Then it's the 42 at Kevin McCann, then Brian McCann, Brian Rose, and then Brandon Mefford. Chris Mefford in the 46. It's taken me a season and a half to finally get that right without looking. While we're at it, though, let's take a look at our point standings coming into tonight. At least after Talladega, Zach Millett is your points leader at 15:57. Brandon Mefford, 15:51. Chris Mefford, a 48. Brian McCann, 47, and so on and so on. You see it all the way down to Chris Goins at 15:31. Jumping right into the qualifying session, we'll see who takes to the track first. It looks like it's going to be Brian McCann and that familiar Bandit number 3.
Yeah, Brian definitely didn't have the best of luck at Talladega, and he's looking to respond here at Martinsville.
Got a feeling the McCanns are going to be tough to handle here tonight. Kevin and Brian both.
It seems like that's the case anywhere we go, really, though. I mean, these two guys are just phenomenal racers on here, and they do a fantastic job at anything that is thrown at them track-wise.
You know, I've certainly seen that, they're fast everywhere we go. That's 100% right. But tracks where you got to get on the brakes and then be quick back to the throttle afterwards as McCann goes 19:47. Those types of tracks seems to really favor Kevin and Brian both.
They're both at the top of the leaderboard right now.
Brian McCann, Kevin McCann. Kevin is the fastest at a 19:39. Not a great year, but a good lap time. Oh, real loose. Mark Thomas, he's going to get the wall at start-finish. Lap 2 is going to kind of go away here. It looks like Thomas 5th fast. Ryan Rose back in the Track Bar Media colors. He's been sporting the HBRShops.com paint schemes here as of late, back in his original TBM livery. 1967 for the first lap for Brian Rose, 4th fast. Once again in the timing tower, take a look at the racing numbers. If they're in red, they're still a championship contender. If they're in white, they're just here for trophies.
So Kevin McCann's not in?
I don't think Kevin is a championship contender. We'll look at it one more time here. No, Kevin McCann, not on the Elite 8, I guess you could call it. Brandon Mefford, the number 83 on track. Says he's gotten one lap in. There it is, 1962, 4th quick. Loose on entry. I turned a handful of laps here last night, actually, in the truck here at Martinsville. Same setup, same weather conditions, the whole 9 yards, and it seemed that the entry into turn 3, at least under braking, depending on where you had your brake bias, truck tended to over-rotate on entry. You almost had to keep the wheel straight on the brakes, and the brakes alone would rotate the truck. Problem is, if you do put a little bit too much wheel into it, you do have a tendency to turn it around. We just saw that with Mefford. 3rd quick, the first lap for Millett. 47 at the line. Does he improve? Does not. 1974. P3, row number 2 for Zach Millett. Still got about 6 trucks that need to take to the Speedway here and put in a lap in qualifying. You never know, though. They may opt just to start out and back. So far, it's Eddie Rose, Chris Elliott, Chris Goins. Mark Truxell, Neil Quick, and Matt Kopp. Just as we say that, though, looks like Neil Quick has entered his truck. Oh, he's got the old midnight scheme here, throwing back to Rusty Wallace a little bit, I think.
I would say that Neil was going to put some time down here. I got a feeling.
Neil's also one of them drivers that you throw in a lot of heavy braking. Can usually excel in those environments. Down into turn 3 as Haley joins the stream chat. We were wondering about Haley, haven't seen her in a little while. On to turn 4, Neil Quick. Oh, checks up before the line. He's going to start P7 here. 19:09 lap 2, 69 the first lap. Chris Goins decides he's going to jump out there and run. Chris with the agentdotson.com colors.
That's a pretty truck.
Show is. 7th quick for Goins. 19.674 the lap time on lap 2. Still 4 drivers not to take a time. Eddie Rose, Chris Elliott, Mark Truxell, Matt Kopp. Certainly no surprise to see Mark Truxell there opting to start from the back. Things get ordered out, calmed down a bit. Only a 16 truck field here tonight, so not a whole lot of track position to make up. So with that, as the sun continues to set here at Martinsville, we're going to jump out, take a short break. We'll be back with our starting grid after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Looks like Millett might have won this. He did by 2/100ths of a second over Brandon. That S4 guy off turn 4 for the final time sees the checkered flag. It waves. It belongs to the 315. Checkered flag. Contact and Brian Rose wins it. A photo finish at the line. Oh, we got a wreck. Will Hewitt's through the trial for the final time, and oh, they're wrecking. Big trouble. Vincent Short sneaks through, and I think Short. Back at Martinsville Speedway for the Noble Racing Series Virginia 150. Let's take a look at our starting grid. On the pole position with a lap time of 19.398 seconds, it's the 42 of Kevin McCann. Outside front row, it is the 3. It's brother Brian McCann, just about 76 thousandths of a second off that top spot. Starting in the second row, the 315 of Zach Millett. And fourth starter will be Chris Mefford in the 46. Starting in the 5th position, Brandon Mefford, the number 83. Brian Rose will roll off from the 6th starting position. Chris Goins rolls P7. Neil Quick starts in the 8th spot. Starting in the 9th position, Jesse Redding, the number 21. 10th goes to Mark Thomas. 11th starter, Joe Tucker. Drew Prale's going to roll from the 12th starting position. 13th, that goes to Mark Truxville. Matt Kopp from IROC, the number 22, starts 14th with Chris Elliott. The number 29, starting 15th, Eddie Rose will round out the field in P16. Your starting grid here from Martinsville Speedway as we get ready to go to green. Pace car is down. We'll be racing in just a moment.
Green flag.
Green flag waves. We're underway.
McCann brothers are going to fight to see who can take the lead right from the start. I think Kevin's going to get it on that inside. It's like our top 4's up to a single file, and Brian Rose and somebody else there battling a little bit.
Oh, we got one on the wall, the 46 of Chris Mefford. Single truck incident. Back in the throttle continues on. Don't know how much damage he's going to have.
I'm not sure if they were contact or what put him in the wall there.
Well, all we can do is try and get a look at it. Let's take a look from the blimp. Brian Rose to the inside. This is exiting turn 4. Nope, turn 2. Nope, turn 4. Oh, just as Brian's going to get onto the brakes, it looks like the 46 cuts down in front of Brian Rose. Rose gets into the back, sends him up the racetrack.
Yeah, it looks like the 46 was definitely on the brakes a lot sooner than
Well, it seemed like he changed lanes, and then as soon as he got in front of the 89, got on the brakes for the corner, which you need to do, but somewhat aggressive move early on.
maybe here you just need to kind of ease into them till everybody gets used to being around each other.
Bear with us as we reload the paint textures. A couple drivers out there sporting the template paint scheme. Joe Tucker being one of them, number 13 truck. Eddie Rose actually without his standard paint scheme as well. Also some connection issues there with Brian Rose, or Eddie Rose that is. Kevin McCann maintaining the top spot over brother Brian. Zach Millett is rolled into the third position. All three of these drivers operating right where they qualified.
Looks like they're putting a little bit distance on fourth place, Medford.
Brandon Mefford, number 83 machine, just out ahead of Brian Rose.
Caution
on the speedway.
I know, man.
Drew Prale is
like
around.
an age limit on racing or something, you know?
Well, let's take a look here, see what happened to Drew Prale. Again, back down the front straightaway into turn one. See, it's interesting. Prowl goes around unassisted by himself. That one brings out the yellow, but the Chris Mefford incident does not.
Could have been maybe with the traffic coming at him too, the other trucks.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're on admin cautions tonight. We're not having iRacing throw these. It's tough to say exactly, but Prale getting spun does not get into the fence at all versus Chris Mefford. Definitely got a big chunk of the safer barrier.
This caution probably benefits the 46 more than anybody.
It really does. I mean, it gives them a chance to get down pit lane and get some repairs made. I know we don't have a fast repair here in the No Bull Series. Still see the right side damage pretty good on the 46.
Luckily, it's not going to hurt him too bad here. I remember Dale Jr. had the fender tore off the front. Like, he talked about how much it helped him on his podcasts a couple weeks ago. Kept that right front cool.
I think there was a race at Martinsville that Truex Jr. almost won, or maybe did win for the same purpose. Right front fender was tore off, getting all kinds of fresh air on that tire. Kept it nice and cool.
Yeah, I remember, or I've seen these documentaries where the older guys, they would put where their bumpers would fly off during the race. Anything for the advantage.
Build it to fail.
Yeah.
Looking at the restart here, gonna be lap 14. We go back to green. Kevin and Brian McCann on the front row. Kevin, the white truck on the bottom. Of course, the black number 3 up top, that's Brian McCann.
Green flag.
Ooh, outside lane doesn't go.
Yeah, Kevin got a really good jump there. Nobody really took off.
You're gonna miss caution.
Now Brian in the 3's battling with Zach
And
Milton.
we got another yellow. I'm not sure what it's for. Eddie Rose down pit lane. I don't know if that's the cause of the caution. Well, I see why Eddie's got the wrong paint. He's in the wrong truck.
I see it. He's in a Toyota. He's normally in a Ford.
Yeah, normally an F-150 is the 88 truck. He's sporting the Yoda tonight. Well, let's see if Eddie was involved in this here. Let's take a look. Yeah, Eddie just gets the wall. Can't imagine that was the reason for the caution. We're not supposed to be throwing these unless there's 2 trucks or more involved, and he barely got a piece of the wall.
Was there something maybe before that? Because he was pretty far off pace.
Not that I can see. I don't know.
It's like Brandon Medford's taking advantage of it again, hitting pit road and maybe getting some more optional damage taken care of.
Everybody should be good to go as far as fuel is concerned for the stage. 55% fuel load was the max tonight. That should be a rough 70 to 75 laps before you have to see anybody grab pit lane. Stage tonight, it's going to be the completion of lap 60, so no issues in that first half. Especially with a couple of cautions in between. Well, let's try it again. We're back on the 1 to go. We'll get the restart here, lap 19.
Green flag.
Another good restart for Kevin McCann. Back to the gas just a tick earlier than everybody else.
Brian got a better restart there in the 3 truck, but Zach Millett did too.
Millen able to get to the bottom. Brian McCann stuck on the outside.
I think Millett knows how good that Brian McCann is, and he is trying everything he can not to let him clear him because he knows, you know, Martinsville's a hard place to pass anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you got to kind of hang it down there on the bottom, and typically you get hung on the outside like that. A lot of times you kind of get freight train, you lose a bunch of spots, but there's really nobody else there. McCann could tuck in behind Millett, but instead he chooses to fight. Millett's got him clear now if he goes up a spot. There you have it. Millett back to P2. McCann now to 3rd. Then 83 of Brandon Mefford runs 4th. Brian Rose P5.
Brian Rose is right there on the 83, just not sure if he's going to be able to make a move right now.
Riding on board with Brandon Mefford. Tries to maintain that 4th position over Brian Rose. Rose drives it deep into the corner, closes into the back bumper. Mefford able to drive it out of the corner a little bit better than the 89 truck.
There, Brian's smart too, and he knows that he don't want to burn his tires up, so he could be kind of trying to see if Brandon makes a mistake.
How about water pressure?
Trouble once
temperature
again.
right there?
Tucker and Kopp involved in this one. So already under our 3rd caution of the day. Let's take a look at it. To back that one up. So you got the 22 here, Matt Kopp. It's a white, black, and pink machine on the bottom, in behind the 5 of Mark Truxell. Down the main straightaway here. I think Cop might get to the inside. See if there's any contact with him in the 5. Yeah, I don't know if he's just got too much rear brake into it, but the 22 just comes around all on its own. Jesse Redding gets a small piece of it coming through. I wouldn't even say that small. It's a good chunk. Joe Tucker was trying to go high to avoid the wreck that was down low, but quickly that changed, and the 22 goes up the racetrack. Tucker gets a piece of him.
Yeah, it looked like he may have just got on the brakes a little too hard there.
So working lap 27, 4 cautions in already. Third caution, that is. So through that exchange, we must have missed something, but Zach Millen has taken over the top spot.
I'm thinking maybe did Kevin McCann maybe get loose or something? Because right before that, it looked like he had a little bit of a healthy lead. I mean, a few car lengths, truck lengths.
He seemed far enough out in front that I can't imagine something would have happened. Let's see if we can find it. Here's the replay of the pass for the lead. Yeah, McCann went up the racetrack. Millet took advantage, and then the caution came out. So back to the 1 to go signal. Lap 31 will be the next lap under the green flag.
This might be a good thing for Brian McCann to be able to start on the inside right behind the leader this time.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. Is that outside lane is not the preferred place to be. It's not that you can't get it done there, but bottom lane certainly rewards those that can maintain it.
Green flag.
Good jump for Millet. Good reaction for Kevin McCann, though. He's still going to slide down to the bottom in front of brother Brian.
Yeah, that is a really good restart for the 42.
Caution is out. Caution is
And
out.
another caution.
Get a look at your temps to make sure everything looks okay.
Bunch of drivers: Chris Mefford, Drew Prale, Neil Quick, Mark Thomas, all involved. Just as Haley says, if there's a ton of cautions, I may fall asleep mid-race. Can't say that I blame you, Haley. It's awful late where you're at.
Come on, guys, get it together for Haley.
Well, with that, we're going to jump out, get our first regular break out of the way. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Martinsville, pace car is off. Back to the green flag here. Lap 37 about to go on the board. Millett with a good jump once again over Kevin McCann.
It looked like that outside lane got a little loose. A couple of them spun the tires there.
42 for sure. I did see that. Kevin McCann not able to get the power down.
Looks like the 28 spun them as well.
Speaking of Chris Goins, he gets the fence pretty good on exit. Scrapes the right side of that truck out pretty damn good.
Got to keep the scratches off the Agent Dotson paint scheme, Chris. Chris has really stepped up the last few weeks and done a remarkable job with his finishes here lately, his performances.
You know, with Chris Goins, too, we've kind of seen that across the board, not just here at No Bull, but his performance over in LSR in the Cup Series has been impressive, as well as Brian Rose goes around.
What's your car doing, bud?
Once again, though, single truck incident. Caution comes out awfully quick.
It looked like Brian may have just got loose on his own.
I think it was just one truck incident, loose off the corner all by himself. We'll take a look at it to be sure. Oh, that's not it. Brian drove it in real deep. Now, what I think happened there with the 89 is he lifted on exit just enough to keep the nose off the back bumper of Mefford, and as soon as he did that, it unloaded the rear end, but he lifted and they got right back in the throttle. So now the truck's unloaded in the back, you're putting the power down at the same time, and around it goes.
Yeah, I think he may have been trying to set up for a move, and like you said, maybe burped it, lifted, and tried to get back on it to make a move and came around.
Quick stop for fuel for Brian Rose. So let's try it again here. 43 laps in, almost a third distance already. Got to get a long run in here, though. We've had a bunch of cautions, 5 to be exact, and we've got less than 50 laps in.
Going back to the progress that Chris Goins has made, I know you talked to him a little bit. Has he changed maybe from screens to VR or any type of change?
So interestingly enough, a while back I had purchased a HP Reverb G2, I think it was, and I could not get it to work with my system, whatever the reasons were. My system's pretty good, but kept getting an error message, and I didn't really have time to mess with it. And I said, you know what? I don't race enough for this really to matter. It was kind of an impulse buy anyway. I got a good deal on it, so I'm like, you know what? Hey, Chris, you want to buy this? And he's like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I've been thinking about it. Well, he eventually pulled the trigger. He bought the thing, gave him the same deal that I got. And I tell you, ever since he switched to VR, his performance level has gone through the roof. He's gotten way better, and it's just because the vision that you have as far as your corner entry, your braking points, your apexes, all of that. It's much improved with VR. It does come with its own set of challenges, but for the most part, it's working out pretty good for Chris Goins.
Yeah, we've heard that a lot, guys switching to VR and actually doing a lot better.
Just helps your vision that much more. But pace car's down, going back to the green flag here, lap 46.
Green flag.
Millet with the jump again. Another decent restart for Kevin McCann. Spins the tires a little bit, but not too terribly. Still gets down to the bottom in behind the 315 in front of the 3 of Brian McCann. Off of turn number 2. McCann right there taking a look to the inside. Gets a run. Does he have enough to get to the bottom? He does. He's alongside of Millet through 3 and 4.
Brian's going to do all he can to try to get his, well, he ain't going to be able to do it.
Well, Millet was smart enough just to tuck back in behind Kevin McCann here and let it ride, see what happens. Kevin McCann on the point. I'd still keep a close eye on the 83 of Brandon Mefford, though. Plenty of racing left here. This is right up the 83's alley as far as short track racing is concerned. Typically a guy that's quick just about everywhere we go, but you go to a place like this, it's a little bit faster for him.
Yeah, I mean, we really haven't got a long run, and we won't in this stage with green flag laps. So we've seen that make all the difference where guys are better at saving their tires, and they really come on towards the latter part of the race because of the tire saving that they do.
We're about 10.5 laps shy of the stage break. Again, the completion of lap 60. Millet gets a piece of the wall there for just a brief moment. Didn't seem to hurt his pace too much as he's only about a truck length off the back bumper of Kevin McCann. About the same distance back to the 3 of Brian. And honestly, where Millet runs right now, he's not in the worst spot. Yeah, he wants to go out there and lead. He wants to win the race. But Kevin McCann, not a championship contender here tonight. So if he wins this, it really doesn't hurt too many guys as far as the championship is concerned. Millet coming in tonight as the points leader.
Caution, caution.
Caution on the speedway.
Any
Eddie
feeling about
Rose
the cardinal?
involved. Gonna blame it on the Toyota.
Toyota.
Eddie trying to get the thing straightened out. Cannot just get it going. Just hits the inside wall again. Well, let's get a look at it.
I thought he was going to come up and take a leader out there.
We can't have that. All right, so it was just a single truck spin off of turn 4. Eddie gets the power down a little too soon. Around it goes. He locks her down. The incident itself, he keeps it off the wall, but he's in the wrong gear trying to get her straightened out.
Right here's where I got a little scared.
Yeah, I was a little nervous about that too. I think Eddie was a little bit panicked there, trying to get that truck righted and stay on the lead lap. Unfortunately for the 88, wasn't the case. So 6 cautions already here, 54 laps in. Hopefully we don't stay on this trend, because if that's the case, we're looking at 18 cautions.
I think we're about to get it worked out.
Not a whole lot of watchers here tonight in the stream. Typically we were north of 15, 20 people. We've only got 4 tonight. I think Haley's still one of them. I don't know if we've lost her yet to the Sandman or not. But either way, Haley, if you are still with us, we certainly do appreciate you being here and reminding everybody to hit that like button and subscribe and share and all the good stuff. Eric, did we even make picks tonight? I think we forgot.
We did not get any picks in.
You had a pick prior to qualifying, I thought.
Oh, I just done that to mess with him. It seems like any time I make a pick, they end up in an accident. So I told Brian Rose before the race I was going to take him.
Nice. Well, Haley says she's still here. She says, I'm here, XD. I don't know if that's supposed to be a smiley face or sticking her tongue out or what she's doing, but Either way, we're glad you're still here, Haley. It's a little light in here tonight. Even if you need to go to bed, just stay here in the stream. Keep those numbers up. Concurrent viewership, you know? Set a sleep timer. You can turn it off when you go to bed. Or after you go to bed.
So nobody pitted, so I'm assuming we're going to race a 3-lap shootout here.
Well, I mean, the tire fall off, I mean, even over the course of 60 laps, it's only about a full second. But as far as tire life is concerned, I mean, I ran 60 laps last night, and I still had some tires showing in the mid-90s. The pace car is in. We wait for the green to come back out.
Green flag.
Kevin McCann in the throttle. Good jump for Zach Millett as well. He's going to be able to tuck back in behind the 42.
Kevin McCann's definitely looked strong tonight when we had the green flag laps.
To no one's surprise, Kevin McCann's certainly going to be quick here at Martinsville Speedway. Usual suspects out front: McCann, Millett, McCann, Bradford. Not Bradford. Bradford's not here. We miss you, David. We wish you were here. But Brandon Mefford. I guess if you blend that name together, you kind of get Bradford.
I feel like Martinsville is probably a track that Bradford's really good at.
Yeah, I mean, again, any track that's got to force you to use the brakes in any amount. Guys like David Bradford certainly going to do well at it. So Brandon Mefford in P4, Neil Quick up to 5th. Caution on the Speedway.
How about water pressure, temperature right there?
Not sure why. We don't have any indicators of a crash by any means at all.
Maybe staged caution.
Yep. That's 100% what it is. We've had so many here in this first stage. Again, this is our 7th caution of the night. It is for the stage. We've had 6 due to incidents in the first 60 laps of this event. So, yeah, I kind of assumed we had another crash, but not the case. So, Kevin McCann, your stage 1 winner as they roll down pit lane.
I can see how you got that.
What, the caution or the Bradford?
The caution.
Just a mess here tonight, folks. It's okay. I'll survive. Kevin McCann into that number 1 pit box. Brian Rose, however, stays out on the racetrack. Remember, he pit at lap 53.
That's one thing about Brian is, you know, he's not afraid to be a little aggressive and pull the trigger. We've seen it all season long where he done stuff that wasn't really for what everyone else was doing, but he done it and it's worked out for him.
Well, let's see if we can pull Kevin McCann into the booth here and get a word with our stage 1 winner. Kevin McCann, it's Steve and Eric in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Hey, Kevin, congratulations on that stage 1 win. I know you're not out here for points tonight, but any checkered flag of any sort, certainly something to be desired. Man, tell us about your first stage.
Yeah, I felt pretty good. I just made that little mistake early on, let Zach by, but I got my brake bias figured out, so feeling pretty good here in the long run, especially.
It seems that turns 3 and 4, especially turn 3 under braking, tends to be the most, I guess you could say, chaotic corner. Is brake bias going to really play a factor into that corner the rest of the race?
Yeah, I think it's just finding a setting you're comfortable with. You know, you got to keep the balance of the car through the long run, especially. So, you know, either turn here, you have to approach a little bit differently, taking a little different line into 3 and 4 than we are in 1 and 2. You know, just trying to figure out where the car wants to be, and you know, definitely stay off that right rear as much as possible.
All right, Kevin. Well, again, congratulations on the stage win here. We'll get out of your hair and let you back over to the iRock channel. Thanks for talking to us.
Yep, thanks.
It's Kevin McCann, your stage 1 winner. here at Martinsville Speedway as we get ready to go back to the green flag. Brian Rose is going to restart this from P1. Again, he stayed out when this caution came out for the stage, as we are now on the 1 to go. He'll be the leader. Kevin McCann's going to restart to the outside. Brian will have teammate Zach Millett out the back window. Kevin McCann's going to have brother Brian McCann out the back window for him. So we'll see how that pans out. See what kind of restart Rose can get on the older tires. They're not terribly old. He had a lot of caution laps, and he pitted lap 53, but I think it might have just been for fuel. No, it was 4 tires. Pace car is down. Lap 67 back under the green flag here in just a moment.
Green flag.
I think Brian waited a little bit later than what we've seen throughout the night.
Certainly seems to be the case. Is Kevin McCann to the outside of Brian Rose. Nose out in front across the stripe. McCann's going to lead that lap down into turns 1 and 2. Zach Millett's going to try and go around and make it 3 wide. No, Rose back to the power. He's able to fight off McCann for now.
Ooh, these guys are doing some great battling here.
Rose dives into the bottom. McCann makes a mistake up out of the groove into the loose stuff. He's going to lose a couple of spots here. Top 2, it's going to be Brian Rose, Zach Millett, Brian McCann now into P3. The battle for the 4th position is Kevin McCann and Neil Quick. Quick to the bottom, the number 2, the Sim Magic F-150 down on the low side. At the stripe, McCann will have the position.
That's kind of the same thing we saw Kevin do earlier to give up the lead to Zach Millett.
It really is. The mistake was almost identical, that's for sure.
Looks like Zach Millett on the inside of Brian Rose, door to door here.
The stripe, Millett's going to lead the lap. Lap 71 goes up. Brian McCann trying to shove his nose in there to the bottom to make sure Brian Rose can't tuck down in front. Looks like he's not going to be able to prevent that, or is he? Close quarters into 3 and 4. Rose slides up the track a little bit, but drives off a little bit better than McCann.
Woo! Later in the race, I don't think Brian Rose would have got away with that one.
No, it is pretty early here as we approach halfway. Brian Rose running in P2 after an incident early on. It's kind of thrown off his pit strategy a little bit. So far it's working out though. Brian McCann running in P3. Kevin McCann, after a small mistake, slips back to P4. Neil Quick runs in 5th.
Brian McCann closing in on Brian Rose again. We'll see if maybe he can complete the pass this time.
Meanwhile, Zach Millett starting to check out. 3/4 of a second, the advantage back to Brian Rose. Officially on
Millett.
Go ahead, Eric.
I was going to say Millett's wanting to see these guys battle it out, and this state green flag.
Yeah, Zach's certainly not going to complain about Brian Rose and Brian McCann fighting for that second spot, because again, every corner, every lap, he's gaining ground. Last time it was 3/4 of a second. Now he's got just under a full second. So we are officially past halfway. So with that being that we are halfway, we're going to jump into our first HBR TV side-by-side break. Stay with us, folks. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
At Martinsville Speedway, the Virginia 150 Noble Racing Series, Zach Millett still with the race lead, 1.2 seconds back to Brian McCann and Kevin McCann, who have taken those positions away from Brian Rose. Rose currently running in the 4th position.
I don't know if you've seen at the end of the camera, he came out of the turn right there sideways. So I don't know if he may be trying to keep some space between him and Neil Quick or what happened.
Brian Rose is going to be hustling here again. He does have about 10 lap older tires underneath him versus just about everybody else in the field, though the lap times are not horrible. Last lap for Brian Rose at 20:61. Leaders are running 20:25, so he's certainly losing some ground. And Neil Quick's running at 20:30, so he's going to catch Brian Rose here pretty quick. But just as I say that, Rose runs at 20:40. Still not quite as fast as Quick, but only about a 10th difference. Again, the drivers were given 2 sets of tires over the wall here tonight. You can only assume that everybody's taken at least one of those sets thus far. And they are all within their fuel window at this point in the race. They can go about 75 laps on a full tank. Here we are at lap 93 of 150. They can certainly make it the rest of the way if anyone decides to pit right now. The problem is you got to kind of wait to pit to maximize the benefit of those fresh tires.
McCann's got it down to about a second here, so he's actually gained a little bit of time on Zach Millett.
Yeah, last lap for Millett about 0.05 of a second slower than Brian McCann. We're talking half a tenth here.
At that pace, it'll take a long time to catch, and I don't know if that's enough to pass somebody.
Well, half a tenth a lap, I think we're talking 20 laps. If it maintains the way that it is, but Millett actually ran faster than McCann the last time by about 0.04. So it's kind of seesaw back and forth, Millett versus Brian McCann. But Kevin McCann, he's actually the fastest car on the racetrack right now. He still runs P3, but he ran a 20:30 to everybody else's 35 and 40. This time by, though, they kind of equally matched. Brian McCann, Kevin McCann running a 20, 23, and then a 24. Millett ran a 20:33, but still maintains just under a full second advantage here as we come to lap 98.
It seems like every time McCann gets a lap of momentum, like you said, it seesaws. Millett comes back with a fast lap the next time by.
Deficit kind of maintaining itself. Going between 9/10 and 96. Back and forth, back and forth. Overall, I think McCann is starting to close in. He's running between half and 3/4 of a tenth a lap quicker each time now is McCann.
You also got to think, if we stay on this green flag, is we see somebody in front of Millett now, what's lap traffic going to do to these guys?
Well, that's certainly going to come into play. You got a couple of guys that are already out of the race, but still, you're going to start catching guys that are just not quite that same pace, maybe a little bit of damage. Then the green flag pit stops that we may run into here pretty soon. This is the longest green flag stretch that we've had all night. Lap traffic's going to play a part, I think, at some point or another. Chris Mefford back into that 5th position after some early race incidents. Right side doesn't look clean, but that truck's certainly fast enough.
Looks like brother Brandon's making a move on Neil quick.
Looks like he's already got it done. Gone by the 2 of Quick. Move Neil back to P7. Now, if you guys look closely, you can already see that the brakes on these trucks are starting to get awfully hot. I don't have a camera set aside for the brakes on these trucks, at least for Martinsville. But if you look close in the front brake rotors inside that wheel well, you can see them start to get cherry red. They are starting to glow. That's how hot these brakes are getting here at Martinsville. And that does certainly affect how the truck handles. I mean, the brakes get too hot, you got to use them up. They get a little soft in the pedal. Some cases you got to try and find a way to cool them down, maybe roll them to the back a bit. But as the tires tend to wear, at least on the trucks here at Martinsville, you tend to roll the brake pressure to the front. Keep that truck from getting loose on entry.
Look at this top 6. Millett, McCann, Rose, Medford. We got two sets of brothers in the top 6.
You got 2 teammates and then 2 sets of brothers who are also teammates. And if you go back to P7, Neil Quick being an IROC driver as well. So you got Brian and Kevin McCann from IROC, Chris Mefford, Brandon Mefford, and Neil Quick all from IROC.
Definitely a good lead good league over there.
Oh, 100%. IROC's a great league. And in fact, HBR TV is going to pick up their league here coming up pretty soon here on Monday nights. Meanwhile, it looks like Brian McCann has caught Zach Millett. It's within 3.5 tenths of a second, or 1 truck length here as they work off turn number 2.
We've seen this be the hardest part, though, is getting around someone, especially when, you and them's around the same time.
See, the thing is with these guys out front, Brian McCann, Zach Millett, it's hard to make the pass clean. Now, I'm not saying that Brian McCann's going to full-on dump the guy, but I'd be willing to bet there's going to be some contact between the 315 and the 3. And I think Brian's just going to try to push him into the corner a little deeper than he wants to go, get him up the racetrack, and then take the spot. That would be my guess. That's the way I would do it if I was close enough to make it happen.
That or a dive bomb.
A dive bomb from Brian McCann, I don't really expect that. I mean, it's possible. Brian's a little more talented than that.
Millett keeps getting looks like that, and it might be an easy pass.
Well, that's true, too. I mean, if Millett's driving in his mirror too much, trying to get the power down a little harder than he should, it's going to open the door for McCann. McCann taking a little bit wider line now.
Kevin in the wall a little bit behind him there, but he's okay.
We've seen that quite a bit, too, and I think it's just a matter of Kevin McCann trying to make the widest arc entries he can possibly get. Maximize that corner speed. Now, if you guys can, take a look at the front brake rotors on Millett and McCann mid-corner. Millett looks pretty good. McCann looks pretty good this time. The previous lap, it seemed that McCann had a whole lot more glow in the front brakes than Millett. They seem pretty equal this time down through 3 and 4.
Brian may want to make his move because brother Kevin's coming and he's reeling them in, and he's been fast all night.
Sure has. I think Kevin McCann has the fastest lap of the race so far. a 19.60. Brian McCann's got a 1964. Millett's got a 65.
Yeah, I mean, a couple more laps, he's going to be on the 3's bumper. He's almost there now.
Tell you, watch how much right turn McCann's got on exit. A little bit there. Watch him get out of turn 2. Even on entry, he's got a whole lot of right turn into that wheel. Let's watch him here again, chasing up the racetrack. Right turn, right turn. So we're within 30 laps remaining here from Martinsville. We haven't had that caution that everybody expected us to have. Drivers are going to need to make one final pit stop before this one's out. Now, the question that I had is based on the tire wear. Do you see anybody gambling with 2 tires? I know we talked about there's about a full second of fall off after about 60 laps, but the tire wear itself was very minimal. Do you think guys might gamble a little bit, Eric? Go with 2 tires, right sides only under green flag conditions?
I think the longer we run, the better chance we have of seeing that happen. Without a doubt. With the tire wear not falling off as much here, I think you'll definitely see guys do that.
I mean, honestly, I almost see Kevin McCann opting for that strategy. He's been one of the fastest, if not the fastest driver out here tonight.
And Kevin has nothing to lose. He's not racing for points.
Well, exactly that. I mean, he's chasing trophies more than anything else, but he's got the pace over everybody else. If he can get the track position and stay out in front of these guys with just some right side tires, I don't know. I think he might be able to make it work.
Yeah, I mean, the longer they run, the more that, the 2 tires isn't going to hurt you as much.
There will be a caution.
Caution on the speedway. Brandon Mefford involved. Looks like Jesse Redding as well. Slow to get away.
There goes all that strategy, Steve.
Yep, there you go. Oh, Mefford not happy. Well.
Yeah, I think he may be a little mad.
Let's take a look. Already into it by then. So watch the 21 truck, Jesse Redding, in behind Brandon Mefford, the 83. Ooh, Mefford gets on the brakes a lot sooner than it seems that Jesse was anticipating. Jesse pretty much just runs over the 83. As Mefford slides up the racetrack, though, Jesse gets a piece of him as well. There you have it. I mean, it's short track racing here at Martinsville Speedway. That stuff's going to happen. I'm sure Mefford's not pleased about it, but it kind of is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hardest part about this track. I mean, anytime you talk about this track, it's getting on the brakes hard and trying not to run over people.
So it looks like everybody and their brother is in pit lane here, but in different sequences. Showing Chris Mefford as your race leader. And just as we expected, Chris Mefford, 9.1 second stop, so that's going to tell me he took right sides only. At least somebody opted for the gamble. Everybody else, 4 tires and Sunoco racing fuel. But with 23 laps to go, the pace car lights are still on. We may get the restart here with 21 to go, 20 maybe, depending on when it is. And likely to be 20 to go as pace car lights are still on.
And we all know the famous line, cautions
breed cautions.
Breeds cautions. So, I mean, this could really work out for the 46 of Mefford.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, if Chris can make this thing pay on 2 tires, My hat's off to him. It's a brilliant strategy. I mean, again, based on tire wear alone, you got to think that it could pay off. It is so difficult to make passes here at Martinsville Speedway. But I don't know. We'll see. At best, I mean, I can see a top 5 finish, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Could still be a solid night points-wise for Mefford. That could be the strategy play as well. Field formed up 2 by 2 into 3 and 4. Pace cars off the speedway here as we get ready for another restart. 8th caution complete. Coming to 20 laps to go.
Green flag.
Good jump for the 46.
Ron's going to try. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Steve.
No, that's all right. Not a great jump for Millett. And Kevin McCann's in trouble off of turn 2. Real big tank slapper. Manages to keep it straight, but he's going to lose a bunch of spots. Slips back to the 8th position. Neil Quick on the outside of Drew Prale in the 80 truck. Meanwhile, Chris Mefford maintains the top spot over Brian McCann. Millett runs back in P3.
Looks like McCann just went to the lead.
Yeah, Brian McCann out front. Just taking that spot from 46 of Mefford.
I don't know if you've seen what Brian McCann done on that restart, but he drove in super hard. Caution's out.
Drew Prale in defense. So we got a couple of things to review here. Let's see how Brian McCann took the top spot from Chris Mefford. Gets the run out of the corner. Mefford tries to take a defensive line. Changes things up. Really gets hard on the brakes, does Mefford. Just trying to give the spot, really, to Brian McCann. Knows that he's only got right side tires. Didn't have anything really to defend. Millett gets into the back from a little bit there off the corner. Let's look at the incident with Drew Prale and Neil Quick. Quick in the number 2 up top. Drew Prale in the 80. Quick was trying to get to the bottom on the 83 and pinch the 80 a bit, sends Prale to the grass. Prale slides up the racetrack, gets into the 2 of Quick, and there you have it, our caution. Less than 20 laps to go here from Martinsville. So right now, as it stands, it's Brian McCann, Brandon Mefford, Zach Millett, Brian Rose, Chris Mefford, all the way around. Chris Mefford runs P2, Brandon Mefford P5. I had it right for a little while, but I screwed it up again.
We're going to have to get their first initials on here.
I just got to tape it to my monitor. You think after a half a season of SCAR and then almost a full season over here at No Bull, I would have figured it out by now, but nope, not the case.
Brian McCann leading. Didn't have the race he wanted to 2 weeks ago at Talladega, and out for revenge here and getting that victory.
Yeah, we'll see if he's got anything for the rest of these guys, but Millett's going to have to make short work of the 46 here if he's going to challenge Brian McCann. Got 14 laps to go, and we're not even on the 1 to go, so it'll be a restart here with 12 laps remaining here from Martinsville.
Brian McCann on that last restart, Millett was on restarting in the 2nd position, and Brian just drove in really hard and kind of blocked Millett from being able to come down. It was brilliant on Brian's part and worked out perfect.
Well, not a whole lot he can do here. He's going to have Millett to his back door here as we get to the green flag here momentarily. Field working out of turn 4. Should get the 1 to go signal this time. There you have it. 1 lap to green. There'll be 12 laps to go to settle it, hopefully, here for Martinsville. Only 11 trucks remaining here at Martinsville, but it's going to be a fun one to settle either way. Pace car is down. Restart in the hands of the 3 of Brian McCann. Chris Mefford to the outside. Then it's Millett and Rose.
Green flag,
McCann
green
with
flag,
a
green
big-time
flag.
jump. 12 laps to go. Down into turn 1. No challengers. Mefford to the outside. Millett to the bottom, trying to take the second spot. Tell you, Eric, Mefford's making them 2 tires pay. Oh, contact! The 46 goes around.
Caution's
So does
out.
Brian Rose.
All right, buddy, you had a couple laps by yourself there. How'd it feel?
Ooh, HBR gets into a Medford, then a Medford gets into an HBR there, it looked like.
I don't even know how to follow that. All right, so Chris Mefford, we saw it happen live, so let's watch the Brian Rose incident here first. So Kevin McCann up in behind, looks like the 83 of Brandon Mefford. Again, they're working the back straightaway here. See Brian Rose in the 89 Track Bar Media, that white and blue truck. Comes down across the nose of the 83. He's just not clear. He gets into him. And this late in the race, if I'm Brandon Mefford, I'm not lifting either. Around goes Brian Rose. Mark Truxell does a great job to go around the outside and not make contact. Now we'll look at the Chris Mefford incident from a similar angle. 46 and Zach Millett. See there, Mefford's clear and Millett just drives into him, it looks like. Trying to get a better angle on this. Yeah, there you have it.
I think Millett, it looks like Millett was anticipating on him to maybe get on the throttle there, and he was a little bit slower than what Millett was anticipating, and Millett got into the back of him.
Yeah, I mean, in a 4-tire versus 4-tire world, yeah, I would totally see that. Maybe Millett doesn't realize that Chris Mefford's only on right sides only, but that's going to be the situation right there. I mean, Chris Mefford just cannot get back to the gas as soon as Millett, just given the fact he's on right side tires that are new, left side tires that are very old. Certainly not an intentional punt. But I don't think Millett knew that Mefford was on 2 tires.
Yeah, it looked like he was anticipating on him being faster in the middle of the turn, and he just wasn't. Look who's in 5th place. Somebody we haven't talked about, but man, he always finds his way towards the front.
Without fail, almost every time that guy starts out of the back, Mark Truxell finds his way into that top 5 late in the race. And I'll tell you, he's got some damage to the nose of that machine, but not too much. Not too much for Martinsville.
No, beat and bruised, he's there.
So it's a small field. It looks like a heat race from North Wilkesboro last night, but these guys are ready to settle it. Coming to 6 laps to go here for Martinsville.
Green flag.
Good jump for Brian McCann. Decent
Millett got
counter
a
for
good
Millett. Yep. Brian McCann with a good lead into turn 3. A couple of truck lengths between 3 and 4. Millett runs P2. Mefford in the 83. That's Brandon Mefford running in P3. Kevin McCann 4th. Neil Quick up to P5.
Brian kind of checking out too right here.
As it stands at the moment, seems to be the case. Watching a battle with Brian Rose and Mark Truxell. Chris Mefford in the mix as well. Chris Mefford just not giving up, trying to maximize his night.
He's probably got the freshest tires out there, too.
Yeah, he does. He probably fit here lap 141. 28-second stop. I didn't realize he'd have a set left over, but either way, he's starting to march through the field.
Mark Truxell just got caught on that high side and couldn't get down.
Meanwhile, out of turn number 4, Brian McCann looking for the white flag. He's going to see it. Final lap here for Martinsville. Brian McCann's got it well in hand. 0.8 of a second back to Zach Millett. Kevin McCann has rolled into the P3 position down the backstretch for the final time. Brian McCann, no pressure out the back window, looking for the checkered flag. He's going to win it here. The Virginia 150 belongs to Brian McCann. Zach Millett, Kevin McCann, Brandon Mefford, Neil Quick, the top 5.
I know this feels good to Brian. Like we've said multiple times tonight, didn't have the finish he wanted at Talladega, lost the points lead, and comes in here and puts himself in position to maybe take the points lead back.
Brian McCann having a hell of a time trying to get the donuts going.
This man has probably done more donuts than some of these guys have starts.
He's got to mess with his brother. Get out of here, boys. I'm doing donuts.
Mill's gonna do some donuts now.
All right, guys, we'll step out here, get a break out of the way, be up with our top 3 finishers after this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
again. Try to find me a sweet little girl of mine, but chip whiskey is playing with my mind. I'm lost in a bottle, Lord, I can't stop. Back at Martinsville Speedway with Brian McCann, your race winner here in the Virginia 150 Noble Racing Series, the penultimate race of this season as we roll into Charlotte Motor Speedway not next week, 2 weeks from now. So for now, let's get a word with the driver of the number 3, that Bandit Trans Am looking Chevrolet. Pull him up into the broadcast booth. It's Brian McCann. Brian, it's Steve and Eric in the HBR TV booth. You got a copy?
Hey, I do.
Brian, congratulations, man. A solid win here at Martinsville. We didn't make any picks here tonight. We should have, but I'd be willing to bet you and or your brother would have been one of the guys we would have set in that top 3 position. But you bring it home, checkered flag for you. Walk us through your race, tire strategy, fuel strategy. What was it?
Stay clean strategy is rule number 1 I went with, and luckily I was able to do it. There was a few close calls, so a little bit of luck helped me get that goal achieved. But other than that, clean truck at the end. Moved around a little bit. I was chasing Zach down for a while there, and I thought it was going to go green, but then a caution came out. I don't think I could have passed him. I was able to catch him, but man, this is hard to pass. So it was going to come down to that pit stop. Then that yellow came out, and then I think Chris Mefford was in front of me, but he had 2 tires, so he was struggling making it through the corner. Got around him, but then some accidents started happening after that. But at that point, I was in the lead. Best spot I wanted to be in.
We certainly expected some guys to opt for 2 tires there late. Chris Mefford really the only driver to do it. It paid off for a little bit, but just not long enough. I think too many laps remaining for that to really pay off for the 46. But 4 tires was the key for you. You got it done. You got by Zach Millett, took the checkered flag. You got one more race in this season. You've had a handful of wins here this year, quite a few actually. You got one more in you for next week out at CMS?
Charlotte, right? Yeah, Charlotte. I love Charlotte.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I love that track. It's my hometown track, and I've turned, I can't even count how many laps I've turned there. So hopefully we can make something happen there next week.
So walk us through next week. I mean, what is really the key to Charlotte Motor Speedway? Is it just a matter of being bad fast? Is it tire strategy? Is it trying to play the fuel if there's an issue with long runs? I mean, what is typically, I guess you could say, a cookie-cutter version of Charlotte Motor Speedway in the trucks?
I don't want to give my secrets away, but, everybody in this, top 5, 6, there's a lot of fast guys in here. And so everybody's kind of equal. So a lot of it comes down to strategy. So yeah, you're right. Tires, pit, that's where races are lost to one sometimes.
Certainly is the case. Again, Brian, I don't expect you to give away any secrets. So again, congratulations here at Martinsville. We wish you the best of luck 2 weeks from now at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, my family, my wife, everybody for watching the broadcast tonight. You guys for doing the broadcast, the league admins for putting this show on. A bunch of time behind the scenes go into it, and our sponsors. Thank you.
All right, Brian. Well, again, thanks for talking to us, man. We wish you the best of luck there in a couple weeks out in Charlotte.
Thank you.
It's Brian McCann, your race winner here at Martinsville Speedway. Next, we're going to pull Zach Millett into the broadcast booth, get a word with that S4 guy, and see what the 315 has to say about tonight's event. Zach, it's Steve and Eric in the booth. You got us?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Zach, congratulations, man. A runner-up finish here to Brian McCann. Certainly a stout driver to finish second, too. I know you wanted that win, but walk us through the night, the strategies that you had to employ. Was it the right plan? Was it the right call? Was there something else you could have done, or was it just you got all you could here tonight at Martinsville?
Yeah, man, I think that was everything we had. Everything kind of worked out. I think a lot of guys were really hoping to stay green on that long run. Brian on the short run is just absolutely fast. I had nothing for him that last restart, but that long run, he chased me down. I think he would have got me, but man, passing here is just, it's wicked hard. I don't know, would have been a battle. Nonetheless, though, I'm second feels like a win. I hate that I got into Chris there. Just it's time to go, man.
Yeah, let's walk through that just a bit. I don't know if you realized it or not, but Chris Mefford was on a right side tire change only. You had 4. So in our opinion, at least, it seemed like you just got back to the throttle the way you normally would have, but Chris unable to do it with the older tires to the left side. And you got into him and around he went. So is that kind of how it looked like from your perspective? If not, walk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to keep pace if you're not full out the whole time. I mean, we were flying pretty good up there. So when he didn't get back to the gas, I was already to the gas, and it is what it is. I hate that it happened, but I had to get around him. I know they're IROC teammates, and I know perfect world he'd like to block and set his team up for the best possible finish. And I don't blame him a bit, but I mean, it was time to go, and I had to go.
It's what it is, as some would say. A couple of weeks, though, we roll into Charlotte Motor Speedway. Certainly a home track for Brian McCann, a favorite place to race at for him. How do you feel about your chances next week? 2 weeks from now.
I don't know. I like our chances. It's a great track. Everybody's fast at Charlotte, it seems like. I've heard Brian's really fast there, so maybe we can ride behind him in practice and get some secrets. But we'll see. It's going to be a good finale. I'm glad it's at Charlotte and not, Talladega or somewhere like that. But I don't know. I would prefer Watkins Glen finale. Just hint for next season. But yeah, it's going to be a good finale. I think it's been a long season, and it's been a lot of fun. I love racing with a lot of these guys, especially like the McCanns. They're super fast, and it's cool to just race around them.
All right, Zach. Well, again, congratulations on a P2 finish here at Martinsville. We wish you the best of luck in a couple of weeks, man. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
I got to thank you, Steve, and Eric for the broadcast, HBR TV. Got to thank Noble, Right Turn Racing guys over there, and the admins, everything they do. Track Bar Media, Eric Dotson, State Farm, Cast Products, Fahey Race Wraps, all the guys over at HBR. We always put the practice in, and it definitely helps. It's great to be a part of the team. HBRshops.com, HBRTV1.com, and shoot me a follow over on Twitch at ThatIs4Guy.
All right, Zach. Well, again, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, guys.
Zach Millett, your runner-up here from Martinsville Speedway. Next, we're going to pull the driver, the number 42, Kevin McCann, up into the broadcast booth and get a word with our third-place finisher, Kevin McCann. It's Steve and Eric in the HBR TV booth. You with us?
Hey, guys.
Kevin, congratulations, man. P3 finish. You got the stage win. I know that doesn't mean a whole lot as far as the points are concerned for you. You wanted that race win here tonight. But walk us through what happened. I know you got a little bit of damage on the nose of that 42 truck. Tell us about the latter stages of your race and how you brought it home in P3 and what you could have done differently.
Yeah, not sure what I could have done differently. Just, got involved in some short track racing incidents, getting bumped on those restarts there. Everybody's getting a little aggressive. Everybody's got to go there the last 50 laps or so. So just tried to keep it clean, and I knew that once we get spread out a little bit, I could start making some moves. So just really tried to avoid what I could. There were some things I couldn't avoid. Made a few mistakes on my own as I was trying to figure out the brake bias setting that I wanted, but overall pretty happy with it. Had some good speed there on that long run we had. Can't remember how many laps we went. I feel like it was almost like 70 or so. But I was definitely reeling my brother and Zach in there toward the end. We had that caution come out, and everybody got fresh tires then. So, we definitely had a good run here. And the guys up front there raced pretty clean. So overall, it was pretty fun.
Well, either way, one more chance at redemption here in a couple of weeks. We go to Charlotte Motor Speedway. I know your brother is certainly a fan of the place. What are your thoughts on Charlotte Motor Speedway here in a couple of weeks?
Oh, I hate that track. I don't know. Me and that track just don't match. I feel like in the trucks, it's a lot of tire saving involved. It's really a tire saving race, so I don't expect to do too well. My brother, of course, he's one of the experts in that area, so is Zach. So, anything goes, though. We'll see.
So you're serious? That's not one of your favorite places to go?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'll be happy if I get a top 5.
I thought he was kidding, but all right. Well, we'll have to keep an eye on that. Kevin, certainly wish you the best of luck in a couple of weeks out at Charlotte, man. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, just thank you guys for putting on the broadcast and the guys that put on the No Bowl League, and just shout out to the IROC team there for another good finish.
All right, Kevin. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. We wish you the best here in a couple of weeks, man. Good luck.
Yep, thanks, you too.
It's Kevin McCann, your third place finisher here at Martinsville Speedway. Let's take a look at the balance of our race results as we get through the end of the night. We talked to our top three: Brian McCann, Zach Millett, Kevin McCann. Brandon Mefford brought it home P4. Neil Quick, a solid top 5. Brian Rose still managed to bring home P6. Chris Mefford, P7. Chris Cones was 8th. Drew Prell, 9th. Mark Truxell was 10th. Mark Thomas was 11th. Jesse Redding was P12. 13th went to Chris Elliott. Eddie Rose was 14th. Joe Tucker, 15th. Matt Kopp was P16. Short field here tonight. Again, the All-Star race happening down at North Wilkesboro. I don't want to know nothing about it. I'm going to try and watch this thing after the fact. That's probably why we haven't had a whole lot of guys here tonight. We started the season out with a full field, 40 trucks to deal with, down to 16 here as the season winds down. But again, I would kind of blame that on the All-Star race. So hopefully have some better numbers in a couple of weeks out at Charlotte. So either way, a solid race. We had a little struggles here early on with the cautions that had popped up. Got some long green flag runs in with the green flag pit stop. But Eric, how do you feel about tonight?
Thought it was exciting there towards the end. We didn't know who was going to come away with this one, and we had some guys make some moves to put themselves in position to win the championship in 2 weeks. I'm sorry.
Next race, 2 weeks. Either way, we'll get it figured out. But yeah, certainly going to come down to it. It's unofficial at this point, but it looks like it's going to be Brian McCann, Zach Millett, Brandon Mefford, and Neil Quick contending for a championship out at Charlotte in a couple of weeks. We'll confirm that here later on, but it looks to be that is the case. Certainly need to do some points calculations before it's all said and done, before we can walk away with that as 100%. But either way, some solid drivers in that mix. Oh, it's going to be a fun one. I'm certainly looking forward to it, Eric. What about you?
Absolutely. The confidence that Brian McCann have, though, I'm going to say he could be the favorite going in the way he was talking.
You know, I would say Brian probably is going to be the favorite coming into Charlotte in a couple of weeks. I know the points didn't necessarily hash that out as far as where he sat based on his performance at Talladega a couple of weeks ago, but I think this is going to straighten some things out, and I think all he really has to do is finish ahead of the other three drivers out at Charlotte. And I think he's got a pretty good opportunity to do that. We'll have to wait and see, and the only way you're going to know about it is if you show up here at HBR TV here in a couple of weeks, Sunday night. It's going to be at about 8:15 in the East. Don't miss a minute of the action. So that's where you're going to find out who's going to win this championship here out at Charlotte. Lastly, I want to thank, again, you, Eric, for jumping up in the broadcast booth. Thanks for helping us out here throughout this season. Rumor on the street is you're going to jump back in these race trucks here, or race cars, depending on what we run here pretty soon. So maybe, just maybe, we don't have Eric up in the booth. But either way, as long as we got you here in some way, shape, or form, we're going to be happy about it.
I'm glad to be here. Maybe we'll see what happens next week. Our Charlotte could be our last one, though.
Eric's got a lot of rust he's got to knock off, so we'll see what happens there, too.
Yeah, if I go start to practice and hit the wall every lap, I'll be in the booth with you.
Well, the old lady bought you some new equipment, so I don't know if you can jump out that soon.
She told me she got me new stuff for my birthday, and she said it better get used, so she's forcing me to race.
Even better.
I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. Like I said, my girlfriend lets me put my rig in the bedroom. I'm in here broadcasting while she sits here in bed waiting for me to shut up and go to sleep. Well, folks, that's going to wrap it up for us here at Martinsville Speedway. Thank you guys all for tuning into the broadcast. The handful of you that may have jumped in the stream chat. Haley, of course, as always. Hope you made it to the finish. If not, we understand. Even Big Blue, Kevin Blue, jumping in the stream chat here late. Certainly do appreciate you saying hello. We've got some road course racing stuff to talk about, I'm sure. But it's going to wrap it up for us here at Martinsville. Thank you guys all for watching. Again, I'm Steve Singer with HBR TV. For Eric Dotson, congratulations to Brian McCann winning the Virginia 150. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Have a good night.